Ramdasi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pritchard, and it is a pleasure to serve once again under your chairmanship. And I'm grateful also to my honourable friend, the member for Linlithgow and East Falkirk, for leading on this such an important debate on behalf of the Petitions Committee. Like many of my colleagues here today have already noted, Great Britain is avowedly a nation of animal lovers. So it pains me that we are here once again to ask the very basics from our government to offer the same level of protection to laboratory animals as will be offered to all other animals within the Animal Welfare Bill. As this bill makes its way through Parliament, I do welcome some of the changes it proposes to ensure we recognise animals as sentient beings, to replace the protections lost through the United Kingdom leaving the European Union. Perhaps we on the opposition benches should be flattered, as many of the promises made by government on animal welfare come directly from Labour's own Animal Welfare Manifesto. However, government's continued failures and delay on animal rights does not fill me with confidence that such measures will be implemented sufficiently. The matter raised by this petition is one of them. In reply to this 110,000 strong petition, the Minister's Department outlined, and I quote, "The government believes animal use for research remains important, and the Animal Scientific Procedures Act 1986, ASPA, provides specific protection for these animals." I'd be very grateful if the Minister could explain this position today, because if the government are not willing to include measures to protect animals in laboratories through the Animal Welfare Bill, do they actually have any intention of reviewing current rules on animal testing? Because sadly, the cruel treatment of animals within laboratories continues. Under the falsehood that ASPA, the Animal Scientific Procedures Act, provides adequate protection to animals. Under current legislation, Mr. Pritchard, the force feeding of chemicals to dogs for up to 90 days without pain relief is considered, and I quote, mild suffering, with this accounting for 67% of all procedures on dogs. It seems completely hypocritical in my eyes to have a government policy allowing this high level of suffering to animals, yet be led by a Secretary of State that claims, and I quote, "There is no place in this country for animal cruelty." It's clear that we must set out an achievable and long-term timeframe against the permitting of severe animal suffering as defined in UK legislation, with a long-term objective to phase out animal testing entirely, particularly when so many other methods, as has been highlighted very ably by my honourable friend, the member for York, and others, when so many other methods to achieve the same or better results exist already. Groundbreaking new technologies, Mr. Chairman, new methodologies including artificial intelligence, advanced human cells and tissue cultures, and organ on a chip and stem cell technologies. In some trials, the use of human cells has been integral to their findings, due to the genetic difference of animals complicating our understanding of human disease. And as activists such as Louise Owen, the founder of For Life on Earth and the Scarlet Beagle campaign, Ricky Gervais, Peter Egan, and accomplished scientists worldwide have rightly highlighted, penicillin's use for humans was delayed by a staggering 10 years because it had absolutely no effect on rabbits. And the polio vaccine, as my honourable friend, the member for Bath, highlighted earlier, was delayed by an even longer 40 years. So 40 years because of erroneous, misleading experiments on monkeys. And the long, lamentable list continues. Yet, currently, there simply needs to be no alternative in order for animal testing to be approved, rather than it being the most effective or successful method for testing. And given the lack of sufficient funding from government into innovative trials without the use of animals, we are in a catch-22 situation. Setting out a timetable, Mr. Pritchard, for change would allow the transition to such innovative research and away from the cruelty that so often accompanies animal testing. It seems like a sensible approach with humanity, kindness, and modernity at its very heart. So I do hope, Mr. Chairman, that the Minister has more than mere warm words today and actually has a clear plan for this much-needed change. Thank you very much, Mr. Pritchard.